All right, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. I hope everyone has had a great weekend. I've been missing for the last couple of days, and I knew the plan for this week was just to do all content on Fury and Wilder 3. All right, there's several videos and lives that I plan on doing this week, just discussing this fight. I did a couple of streams last week. One stream was supposed to be about the undercard, okay, and I left the stream open for anyone to join, and we went into a full 3-hour conversation, mostly talking about Joshua and Usyk. We talked a little bit about this as well, but I want to do that over. Like, I want to do an actual separate live or stream or a video just discussing the undercard. Um, Shout out to everyone that's here. Hal, I seen your comment earlier. Um, I'm going to talk more about the Wilder and Fury fight all week. So we're definitely going to talk about what I expect them to do as far as like Wilder and, setting up, everything that you said here. I'm going to discuss that. Andridge, what's up, man? Best fight card of the year. And yes, I agree with you. In fact, I agree with you so much that I want to do a separate live stream just talking about the undercard alone, because the undercard is just that good. And I'll take it even further. If this fight if this fight was local, I would have definitely went. This was definitely worth the purchase to see live, or well, definitely worth a pay-per-view in my opinion. As far as comparing pay-per-views, this was definitely worth it. But I love this undercard, and this is definitely my favorite undercard by far that I've seen in a while. Like, every single one of these are heavyweight undercards. I love Jared Anderson. I like F.A. Ajaba, Frank Sanchez. I like this. I would love to see the Robert Helenius, Robert Kanowski rematch. All of these heavyweight fights are meaningful. I see that Julian J. Rock Williams is also on the undercard somewhere. I see Ramses Barthélemy is on the undercard. I'm not sure how many fights. I'm pretty sure that they're gonna just show all of the heavyweight fights. But I love this undercard, and I think, to be fair, I need to do a separate video just talking about those cards. I love those cards. I love those fights there. All right. Shout out to everyone that's coming in. Make sure you smash that like button, share the video as well if you can. But yeah, we have a lot to talk about. So basically this week, I want to talk about the undercard. Obviously, I want to break the fight down. I also want to bring some other channels in and discuss it if I can. Definitely go to shout out, hit up D-Style and a few other channels. I want to be able to discuss this with some other channels as well. And, whatever, definitely do another stream, probably open it up, let, the subscribers join up, say what they, say their piece. And I want to do all of that leading up to the fight. Saturday, I'm here. I'm going to be breaking it down. I'll be doing the commentary for the fight. So I'm definitely, check me Saturday. I will be here covering the entire card for sure. The day is cleared. I'm not doing anything this Saturday. I believe you can order the pay-per-view on ESPN and Fox, either or. I think they did a similar thing before. So I'll be here. All right. So definitely check me out Saturday night. All right. So let's talk about this fight. There's so much to talk about when it comes to this fight. All right. I'm going to repeat a lot of things that I've said because I don't know, for the newer subscribers, I don't know if they were here at the time that I felt this way. So I'm going to talk about the first preview fights, and we're going to go straight into this third fight, what it means, and what I think is going to happen after the fight is over. All right. What I want to see. First off, if you weren't here a few years back when these guys were set to fight, Tyson Fury had just made his return to boxing. Okay. Had a couple fights. All right. Looked a little heavy. Then Wilder was going to fight him. At the time, Fury was still lineal. Wilder was a WBC champ at the time. And then going into that fight, I thought it was just too soon for Fury to fight Wilder. Okay. I thought it was too soon. I wasn't impressed with his 2 comeback fights. And I thought right at that moment, it was an easy fight for Wilder. You know, not easy as in a sense, like I knew Tyson Fury had a better boxing ability, the technique and everything like that. He's slicker, better defensively. He had all those skills. But when it came to the power of Deontay Wilder, the athleticism, the fact that he already beat Luis Ortiz, yada, 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 I think at that moment, I thought Wilder was going to win. I knew, you know, I had picked him to win. He almost won. He almost got a knockout late in the fight. But me personally, I thought Fury secured the rounds in that fight, secured more rounds. I think he barely won on points. I've watched it several times since then. I'm probably going to watch it again this week because I haven't seen it in a while, but I watched it several times. And I just think Fury did enough to win on points. All right. It was a draw. It wasn't the worst draw I've ever seen. You know, it wasn't the worst. You know, the judges didn't do the worst thing. Like it wasn't really that bad to me, you know, because I can see why people picked Wilder because he was the aggressor. He was an aggressor. He didn't land much, but he was the aggressor and he scored 2 knockdowns. All right. So most people, I feel like over the last 2 years, most people feel that Tyson Fury did enough to win. Some people are cool with the draw. There are some people out there that think Wilder did win the fight. All right. You know, there were videos done talking about the 10 count. It was just a whole mess at that year. I mean, but it wasn't nearly as bad as the rematch. The rematch was a totally different thing. But the drama after the first fight was all about the 10 count. You know, people were making content, counting 10 seconds, comparing this to Mike Tyson and Buster Douglas, you know, and then people had to understand that 10 count doesn't necessarily mean 10 seconds. All right. The ref is the one that decides how the 10 count is going to go. You know, sometimes you don't even hear the number. Sometimes he takes a few seconds before he even starts his count. It doesn't work when it comes to the 10 count. Everybody's 10 count is not the same, and not every 10 count in situation is the same. All right, but anyway, that was a drama, and that was all the drama. All right, Wilder went for Tom Schwartz, secured his deal with ESPN. Not going to get into everything that happened with the WBC and Dillian White and all that in between that. Fury secured his own bag with ESPN. Was supposed to fight Wilder in an immediate rematch, but he secured his situation. ESPN had a deal with them. He's still with them. And Wilder, what did he do? He knocked out Brazil. He fought Ortiz in a rematch, did his thing in both of those fights, right? And then we went into the third fight. Now, we got to remember, out of all of the people that are upset that we didn't get undisputed between Joshua and Fury this year, you got to understand, back then, they made a 2-fight deal from jump. They made a 2-fight deal. They agreed on a 2-fight deal. No matter the outcome, they agreed on 2 fights. All right. So this is why back then, before leading up to the second fight, even after the second fight, even this year, I wasn't making any content about pound for pound because I knew about I knew at the end of the day, these guys already had agreed on the 2 fights. Now, after the outcome of the rematch, right? We got the rematch, right? Rematch. I'm thinking, boom. You know, I think Fury did enough to win, but I also like the way that Wilder finished the fight, almost knocking out Fury. You know, so I figured going into that rematch, I'm like, man, I think Fury again. Fury, not expecting him to come in heavier, be aggressive. I'm not expecting that. I'm thinking Fury is gonna just box better, right? Went into the second fight thinking, you know what, Wilder caught him late. I think Wilder, having experience dealing with Fury, knows how to time that right hand. I'm thinking Wilder, I see Fury outboxing him, but I see Wilder catching him at some point, right? That was my prediction. Fury on points, Wilder by KO. And my prediction, Wilder by KO. We go into that fight, and the complete opposite happens. Everything, the whole boxing world fell apart. The whole last year, if you watch YouTube, all content was about that rematch. Everybody. I mean, I don't even think I went like 6 months without doing any content because I just didn't care to, you know, because everything was about Fury Wilder. The world shut down. We weren't getting boxing. You know, COVID was on the attack and we didn't get anything. So everything, I made a couple videos about Wilder and Fury. And then I made a couple more just talking about the third fight, when we thought we was going to get a third fight. It's supposed to be last summer. We never got it. And, you know, they go through arbitration. Neither one of them get in the fights. Fury's almost got in a fight late last year, didn't get it. Yada, yada, yada. Yo, this is the thing. When it comes to that rematch, and this is what makes this third fight so hard to choose. There's a lot of people out there that believe that every excuse or allegation that Wilder made was true, right? So you got those people, right? You got all of the Wilder, heavy Wilder supporters that believe Glovegate was real, Wilder wasn't right, so possibly his water was spiked. They believe that there's Glovegate, but there's two Glovegates, right? Because there's a Glovegate from the first fight with the floppy glove thing, and then there's Glovegate in the second fight where people feel like there was an egg weight or there was something in Fury's glove that was giving him more power, right? So you have all of those people, and it was like, I think at the very end of it all, I think there was like 10 different excuses. A lot of them were directly from Wilder whenever he did speak out about it, but then a few of them was just totally made up on social media, like a lot of Wilder supporters that made these things up, made content on it. Listen, they was eating it up. I get it. I have a YouTube channel. I know how views work. I know how content works. I know if you keep making videos about the one thing that everybody's talking about, you're going to make bread. You're going to get viewership. I understand that. Subscribers. I know how it works. Everybody ate it up. Fortunately for me, I didn't really eat it up. I didn't take advantage of it. You know, I made a couple of videos on it and left it as that. But yo, so there's the people that believe everything. Then you have people that's in the middle, right? They think certain things, they believe certain things, other things they left alone. There's some people thought that the glove thing was suspicious, right? Thing looks a little weird with the floppy gloves, but they didn't believe in the egg weight stuff. They didn't believe in the costume stuff. They didn't believe in the Mark Breland stuff. You got people that's in the middle that's like, all right, certain things are weird, but we don't believe everything, you know? But when it comes to the fight itself, people are like, well, Wilder lost. He got stopped. It is what it is. We're just going to go with the official ruling, right? Which is different from the people over here that said Wilder got cheated. He lost because he got cheated, right? So you got those people. You got the people that's in the middle. And then you got the Fury fans, or just not even Fury fans, but people that are just like, listen, the loss was a loss. No excuses. I don't believe in Glovegate. I don't believe in the Spike Water thing. The Mark Breland situation was ridiculous. You got all of those people that's on the other side. They might not even be Fury supporters, because I've been doing videos on this a year. I've heard different opinions on this whole thing. The thing is, nobody knows anything. Nobody knows. We don't all know. We can speculate, which we have done all year. But what it does is, since we don't know, like, well, let me speak for myself. Since I don't know the whole truth, I know what has been put out there. Certain things I thought, like when I first saw the Glovegate thing, I thought it looked weird, because it was points where I saw the glove like bent all the way back, right? So I thought it was weird, but then I started listening to arguments, comparisons, other videos, other fighters where it has looked like that. Maybe not as bad and bent as Fury, but I didn't also think that the people that were making the argument that the glove was tampered with in some form, I didn't necessarily agree with what they were saying was the advantage Fury was having by not having his fist fully in the glove. That didn't make sense to me. You know, punching like this didn't make sense to me. You know what I'm saying? If anything, your punch is going to be more effective by having your full fist in that glove, which would make you punch harder, right? But we're not going to go into all of that. I just want to bring everybody up to speed. All of that, though, makes things a little bit difficult on picking the winner of this next fight. Some people got Fury because they felt like Fury won the first two. All right. He won the first fight, you know. Fury outboxed Wilder, Fury stopped Wilder in the second fight. Right now, Wilder does not have a win over Tyson Fury at all. That's one thing that is a fact. There is no legit Wilder win over Fury. You have a draw and you have a stoppage. All right. Those are the facts. So, people, we are going into this fight. As far as facts, there's a draw, there's a Fury win, and now we're waiting for the third fight. Now, if we're going based on what the first two fights went, like how they went, I would have to say Fury, logically, Fury should win this third fight. He should win because he had a draw before. He has a win, a dominating win at that, right? Wilder got smoked in that rematch. Regardless of what you believe, Wilder on camera got smoked by Fury. That's a fact. There's no way to dispute that. You might argue that he was cheated. That's cool. You could believe whatever you want to believe, but everybody don't believe the same thing. Yes, there's a group out there that believes everything, but there's a lot of people that don't believe. They believe certain things. They don't believe others. And again, you got the people that felt like, you know what, Fury won. It is what it is. So now we're going to this third fight, and there's drama leading up to the fight. Arbitration. Joshua undisputed, which didn't happen. Joshua lost to Usyk. It's not going to happen, at least not for a while. All right, not involving Anthony Joshua. Fury, the nonsense before this fight. I feel like Fury, Bob, and these guys kind of knew. Most likely the Joshua fight. I think all of that became exhausting for the fans. Plus, we haven't been getting much fights this year, right? We haven't got much. A lot of fights got canceled, yada, yada, yada. You know, I think what makes this fight hard to decide on is because when we look at Fury, we question certain things. Fury is very, very unpredictable. Okay. We saw what happened the last time he won. He basically left the sport for a couple years after that. Never defended his title. Didn't have the Klitschko rematch. He disappeared, gained weight, had mental health issues. These are all of the things that happened with Fury before. Okay. And it's still an unpredictable thing. It's not something that we expected from Tyson Fury, the new champion, which he was. He dethroned the king, Vladimir Klitschko, and disappeared, right? Then, now after he returned, right? He returns. What happens? Joshua fight didn't happen, but they spoke it to existence like it was going to happen. They made fans feel like the fight was going to happen. Then we didn't get the fight. Pissed the whole boxing world off, right? Didn't get the fight. Then Wilder 3 gets scheduled, right? We see Wilder, all these videos, yada, yada, yada. We see Fury doing some, typical trolling and stuff like that. But then the whole thing gets delayed because of COVID, right? Fury allegedly catches COVID, but then there's stuff like he's in Vegas. I think he's toying around with the public, but you have all this stuff that comes out with COVID. Did he really have COVID? Joseph Parker, the whole camp. Joseph Parker doesn't have it. He's at fights. It's just a whole bunch of mess that goes down that makes people like, yo, does this dude really have COVID or not? Or is he delaying it? This is what happens. All the fans start creating whatever they believe at this point. Fury, maybe he's not ready. Maybe he's not shaped. Maybe he's delaying it. Is it ticket seats? Is it ticket sales? Are they slumping? Did they push it up because of that? Did they use COVID as an excuse? Nobody really knows, right? All we see, though, are videos of Wilder. Wilder is not doing anything. He's not talking about the fight. He's not promoting the fight. All we're seeing is him working on new things with Malik Scott to prepare for this fight. That's all we're seeing. And we're seeing it, this is another thing when it comes to Wilder. For the people that believe that these videos actually mean something, right? And I think they do. I personally believe that they do, because I feel I've always said this about Wilder. Wilder never really had an excuse or a real reason to be motivated to work on other things because everything kept working for him. Even when he was losing rounds, even when he was getting outboxed, it almost worked with him again against Fury, the only person he lost to. It almost worked against him because even though Wilder to me was down on points, or even to the judges, because it was a draw for a reason, the judges for the most part gave Fury more rounds. But even in that fight, Wilder still almost won the fight in the 12th round. And I remember when that knockdown came, I thought it was over. I know exactly where I was when I was watching it. I was right here with you guys, right? No, I wasn't. The first fight I didn't cover live. The first fight I actually went out to watch the fight. And I was in a bar with a bunch of Fury fans, hardcore, right? Talking crazy. I heard some crazy things from some of those fans. And I remember when Wilder knocked him down, and I said, that's it. That's it. That's exactly what happens with Wilder. He could be getting outboxed. Doesn't matter. He's going to connect at some point, and he did. But Fury got up, right? But going into this third fight, I think the setups need to be different. See, Fury, the thing with him is, I don't know what the game plan is. The game plan might be do the exact same thing. You know, I know. Let me drink some of this water real quick. I was watching some of the rematch the other day. Right? Didn't get to watch the whole thing, but I was watching some of it. What I noticed is that Fury's right hand was heavy. Okay. I noticed that in the first round. I think the first big right hand that Fury connected with in that first round, it wasn't all the way clean. Some of it was blocked, but I noticed at that point that big right hand was bigger than anything Wilder had thrown in their fights. All right. Now, I might be over exaggerated because I know the big right hand landed in the first fight, knocked him down, almost knocked him out. But I knew watching that fight the other day, I said that big right hand, I don't know what Sugar Hill is working on with Fury. I believe, Fury is a very big man. And I know that those trainers, from what I've heard about them, they're basically a more aggressive type of fighting. When they prepare you, is more an aggressive way, not in a way that we're normally used to seeing Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury is a much bigger man than Deontay Wilder. All right. He was throwing heavier shots, wasn't as slick, wasn't as quick, but he was sitting down on them shots and he was walking Wilder down and he was leaning on Wilder, who's much smaller than him. All right. Not in its height, but as in stature, as in weight, much smaller. He was fighting Wilder like he was a small dude. All right. So Fury in this fight, I'm expecting Fury to do what worked for him in the rematch, as opposed to what was happening in the first fight. Now, Wilder, this is what I'm expecting, and this is how I think Wilder can win this fight, right? Or at least do better, because I do believe Wilder is good. I do not believe what happened in a rematch is going to happen. That's right, Omega. I see your comment. Omega says Crunk Gym is a very special gym for creating punchers. Exactly. Oh. Exactly. Punchers. Right? That's what they're known for. And that's why Fury went over there. They wouldn't go over there for any other reason. Fury, being a big man, never really used his size and to have that kind of advantage. He's always been a slick kind of fighter, likes to counter, likes to set traps, No, Fury used his size and really, really came in on, I'm going to knock you out. When he said it, I didn't believe it. None of us believed it. But that's what we got. Now, going back to what I was saying, Wilder. What I want to know, and I'm watching these videos, and I want to watch a little bit more because I seen the clips, right? I see, him doing and working on some things. Some people laugh at them. Some people just think they're just ridiculous videos, and these, the things that he's working on is going to be useless against Fury. They might be right. I have no idea. We have to wait and see Saturday. But one thing I do know is the two things that I feel like Wilder needs to really work on is definitely number one, the setups. That whole lead, keep that lead hand out, the jab and then the 1-2, or stepping in from far out with the lead hand, kind of blocking, masking the right hand that's following it up. It's knocked out a whole lot of people. It's knocked out a whole lot of people. It worked against a lot of people for years, right? It's not going to work with Fury. It was too predictable. We saw that in the first fight. In the first fight, we saw it. We need different setups. We need different combinations. We need more body work. We need we need more of a variety. All right. Malik Scott says, I've seen Wilder do these things. I just need I need him to use these things in a real fight. Wilder has had a lot of time to prepare. Is he at a point where, is this all going to become muscle memory in this short period of time? It's not that short. We've gone long, and I don't know how much Wilder was preparing last year. If he was preparing all last year up into this year, well, that would be great. That would be great. But all of these new things, is it muscle memory? If he gets clocked in the head by Tyson Fury, is he going to go back to old Wilder? Or is he going to keep working? Another thing is endurance. Are you working to fight at a high level in the later rounds? Or are you going to be burnt out? Fury, Wilder, too. Wilder looked burnt out by the third round. All right? The energy wasn't there. This is why some people feel like, hey, I'm not sure. And I've heard this because I like to talk about what everybody says. I don't want to just stick to one group. All right. The extremes. I've heard a few times, or I even read a few times. Listen, something was off with Wilder. I don't know what it was, but something was off. It might have not been spiked water, but something that night was off from jump. Some people believe that. Fair. It is what it is. There's other people that say, well, something was off with him because Tyson Fury was the aggressor and was making him work on his back foot. He was bigger. He was leaning on him, and he burnt them out early. Some people go with that. There was nothing wrong with Wilder. It's just that how Fury was fighting Wilder was more effective. What I know is Wilder preparing for this fight, this guy stopped you before, embarrassed you, knocked you down a couple times. Guy that wasn't ever really considered to be a big puncher, right? AJ could punch. Klitschko could punch. Wilder could punch. Fury was never that guy. Yes, he has stoppages, but he's never been that guy to just knock people out, or knock them down like the way that he was doing. That was what the Crunk Gym did with him. So with all that being said, Wilder, yes, you have to do more. That's obvious. All right. We know that you have the biggest power, probably one of the hardest punchers in history. Possibly. You might be. At least in this generation, we know you are, right? We need different setups, but we also need you to have endurance, stamina. We need you to move too. We need you to move a little bit more. If Fury is leaning on you, you need to push off and move. You have feet. You're very athletic. You move pretty quickly. Your step back game is very quick. I've seen that in the Ortiz fight. I don't have to go to I'm talking about the first fight. The first fight that was more competitive, right? Wilder was very quick and stepping in and stepping out of range, you know. Um I'm not I'm we don't the thing with this channel, and you've been here a long time, is not propping up. We're talking about boxing. Like, this is what this guy needs to do. Is he going to do it? I have no idea if he's going to do it. We got to wait and see. It's not propping up. I'm not a channel that's just going to sit here and talk about Fury. That's not how it works. We're going to do the breakdown, and we're going to keep it equal every single time we do it. You know, because there are other channels out there that's just going to tell you one-sided, keep it one-sided every single video. If I was like that, most of y'all wouldn't be here. If this was a Fury's going to destroy him, yada, yada, it's nothing Wilder can do, then most of y'all probably wouldn't be here. But I have to keep it real. Wilder is still dangerous. Fury is dangerous and boxes better to me, but he's unpredictable. And if there's a slight chance that Fury is taking this fight lightly because he's already beaten him and he's already stopped him and he's already looking forward, he's putting out lists. Fury is putting out lists on a hit list before he even fights Wilder. So don't you think there's a small chance that he may be overlooking Deontay Wilder just a little bit? And let's talk about the fact that he already was pushing the AJ fight and promoting the AJ fight just a few months ago. Totally overlooking Deontay Wilder. So what I'm saying is this. Wilder, logically, Fury should win. Fury has the power. Fury has the boxing ability too. I'm thinking this. Let's say Fury comes in the same way he came in the rematch, right? Let's say he comes in heavier. Let's say he starts pressing Wilder. Let's say Wilder is doing a little bit more with his boxing, right? Let's just say like he's throwing a little bit more. He's throwing punches. Let's just say I'm not sure if he's going to be able to do it, but let's just say Wilder is doing a little bit better this time around. I think he will. Let's say we get halfway through the fight and this fight is dead even, right? Let's say that this match is competitive somewhat. If Fury abandons the aggressive version, he can always switch back and just counter set traps. He can adjust. He can always adjust. So you know what? I can't knock you out because you're doing things that's throwing me off a little bit, right? You're catching me a little bit more with the right hands. You know, not dropping me, but you're catching me a little bit more. You're going to the body. You're doing something that's bothering me. Fury can always adjust and say, you know what? All right, well, I'm just going to outbox you. I'm going to outslick you. I can do that. And that's a thing, too, when it comes to this fight that people on the Wilder side got to recognize. Listen, what worked for them, the first, the rematch, or for the people that believe that Wilder is going to be so much better because of these training videos, you got to understand, even if he's working on what Fury did in the rematch, Fury can always go back to being how he was in the first fight and outpoint Deontay Wilder without having to knock him out. Whereas I feel if this fight goes the distance and Wilder doesn't drop Tyson Fury, I can't see Wilder beating Fury on points without having to drop him a couple of times like he did in the first fight. So I feel like Fury has more ways to win because he can outbox you and he can also knock you out. Or he can mix the two and keep switching round by round. Or he could go southpaw and fight you that way. He could do so much more. This is what I'm saying when it comes to Wilder, and this is the issue he has. Plus, Fury mentally, if he's not coming over and overlooking Wilder, like I was saying before, he could also be coming in mentally like stronger because I already beat you. I know how to beat you. I'm confident I can beat you again. Wilder, is he mentally confident? He's never lost before. He's going to be facing the man that stopped him the last time he saw each other. And Wilder has not had a tune-up fight since then. Yeah, we bring in everything in full circle. That's what we want to do here. We got to put everything in full circle. Wilder has never lost before. Not as a pro, at least. Right? He's never lost. Not only that, but he's never been dominated. Now, I know that there's a lot of content creators that are making videos about, made videos about all the cheating allegations and stuff like that. That's cool. But only Deontay Wilder knows the truth. Only he knows. I'm sure he appreciates what everybody on YouTube did to defend him. But only at the end of the day, only he knows deep down inside if he really lost that fight. Was he really beaten? And if he knows that he was really beaten, and he knows that Fury, or he believes that Fury is better than him, and if he's going into this fight fearful that it might happen to him again, then mentally he's already lost a fight. I'm not even talking about the training videos that we're seeing. I'm talking about him when he's alone by himself, the way he's thinking. I'm not talking about what Malik Scott is saying. I'm not talking about these videos that are coming out. Only he knows the truth. This is why this fight is very predictable to me, because there's so many different angles we could go with here. This is the one thing I ask, and this is the one thing that I want. This is what I want out of this fight, and I'm hoping we get this out of this fight. I don't want any controversy. Please. This is boxing. We normally get it. And when it comes to these two, we normally get some sort of controversy. There's a history of controversy between these two in their careers, not just their fights, but in their careers. All I'm asking for, right, is everything to be fair. If it goes to a decision, I hope that the judges do the right thing. All right. They're around the ballpark of what the majority of this feels. No 117, 111 cards. Right. Lekin, thank you for the donation. Where's this narrative coming from that Wilder only won 2 rounds against Fury? Just rewatched the first fight and had Wilder winning 1-4, 6, 7, and 12. Well, you know what? People see fights differently, man. There's a group that said it, and they went with it, and that's what it is. I think Wilder won. I think my breakdown back then, I have to go back and look, but I'm gonna rewatch the fights anyway. I think I gave Wilder 4 rounds on the card. I think I gave him 4 rounds. All right. 4 or maybe 5. No, I think I gave him 4. I'm gonna stick. Yeah, 4. I gave Wilder 4 rounds, right? And then he got the 2 knockdowns. I gave Fury, obviously, I gave him 8 rounds, which was enough to secure the win. All right. But I don't know where it comes from. But I heard that a lot. And not just on social media or YouTube or anything like that. I've talked to people that said, yeah, Wilder, outside of the rounds that he knocked down Fury, he didn't win any rounds. I've heard that from people. I've heard it. So where it came from, I don't know where it came from. But I know there's people that had it that way. I had it 8-4. But real quick, what was I speaking on? Just lost my thought. Oh, okay. So as far as this fight, I don't want no funny stuff with the judges. Hopefully, we don't get no headbutts. Hopefully, we won't get no drama. I want it to be a good, clean fight. I want everybody to just, whatever way it goes. I just don't want any controversy. I want us to leave this fight and move on and say, you know what? It was a great fight, and I think it's going to be a great fight. And I actually think that as far as competitiveness, I think that this is going to be the best one. They both fought each other twice. Wilder has had time to at least work on some things. Will it be effective? Will it be enough? I don't know. We have to wait and see. But at least the guy is working on something. You know what I'm saying? Will it be enough? I have no idea. He's very late into his career. But all I know is that I hope the winner, whoever wins, I hope the winner eventually makes that run to undisputed. And hopefully we can get it by the end of next year at some point. I don't care who wins. I really don't. I really don't care. All I'm saying is I don't want any robberies. I want everything to be clean. And I want the winner, after they get rid of, they deal with a mandatory obligation or whatever they have to do. I hope the winner fights the winner of Usyk and Joshua. That's all I'm asking for at this point. Because it's always been undisputed with me. Yeah, there are certain fighters that I prefer, right? But at this point, it's taking too long. And I just want us to go straight to seeing who's the best. Period. Whoever wins this fight wins the war. They've been battling for 2 fights, 3, now they're in the 3rd fight. Whoever wins, if Deontay Wilder wins this fight, it's over. I don't want to talk about it no more. It's over. No more debates. I know it'll be tied. You got to draw. You got 1-1. Let's see it again. I do not want to see it no more. Please, let's just get this last fight and let's move on. I don't want to see these fight. If these guys fight again, there's only one scenario. Like if Wilder wins this fight, there's only one scenario that I ever want to see these two have a tiebreaker. And that's if Wilder goes on, become undisputed or whatever. Fury goes on, does whatever he does, comes back, get another title shot opportunity, and we get the mix up of Joshua and Wilder or Fury and Joshua or Usyk and Wilder. We have to get other fights going. Fights that we've deserved, fights that we waited for. I don't want to see another Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder fight if Wilder wins. I don't care if it's a tiebreaker. I do not want to see it anymore. I'm done. This held up a good 3 or 4 years in the heavyweight division. It held it up. I'm glad that they fought each other, but it held up the division. And I want them to move on. All right. So that's how I feel about all of that, man. I just want it to be a good, clean fight. And I just want everything to work out. That's all. Hopefully the fight actually happens, because you never know. Like Chris Eubanks' fight didn't happen yesterday, I believe. You just never know with boxing. Anything can stop a fight. Anything. So this is part of the reason I wanted to go to this fight. But I told y'all before, I refuse to travel for any fight at this point. I would go to a fight in New York, but I'm not going to a fight where I got to travel to go see it. I'm not going to buy tickets, buy a hotel, rent, or do whatever, rent a car, spend all this money and planning for a fight event, and everything gets canceled, and I have to do all of this stuff. I'm not doing that. I would have loved to go to this fight because this is a great undercard. This is a great card. All right. I would love to, but I'm not going to go. If it was in New York, I would have definitely paid the money to go. I would have, I would have got me amazing tickets, right? Just like I did when Joshua came over here. I would have got amazing tickets. I would have been as close as possible, and I would have loved to see that fight live, including the undercard. But yeah, no traveling for me, not when it comes to boxing, because boxing has been doing me bad. It's been doing all of us bad, and I'm not rocking with it. All right. Salute to everyone Salute to everyone. Shout out to Captain Crochet, man. He says, don't underestimate the craziness of boxing. If Wilder is exposed again, why not having a WTF moment instead of let him being stopped? I'm never going to underestimate the craziness of boxing. I still feel like not until they get in the ring that night, I still feel there's a good chance that the fight might not happen. That's how weird boxing is right now, especially this year. So I'm just like waiting. I just hope everything happens smooth. I hope no one gets badly hurt, because you got a lot of other heavyweights on this fight. I just hope everything goes smooth and we get the fight and it's over. I hope no one's getting caught with no cheating. And I hope that after the fight is over, everybody, you know what? It's not going to ever happen because people are always going to be bitter and they're going to always have excuses and yada, yada, yada. But I'm hoping by the end of this fight, we can all move on. Whoever the winner is, if Fury wins again, you Wilder fans, y'all got to chill out. I already heard some people saying like Fury's going to find another way to cheat. Well, if you're going into the fight thinking like that, then you got an insecurity thing going on. Like you got to chill out. Fury's going to find another way to cheat. Well, listen, there's been 3 fights at this point. If Wilder can't get it done at this point, after 3 fights, it is what it is. Fury's just better. But if Wilder is to win, right? You Fury fans too. You hardcore Fury fans just got to say to yourself, you know what? It is what it is. Wilder did what he had to do. He took care of it, and that's it. We don't need to go back into the rematch. What happened in the first fight? This third fight ends everything. That's it. I don't want to hear about, oh yeah, but he only won because the judges did. Like, no, you had 3 fights to get it done from either side. There should be no excuses. You got 3 fights, 3 different shots. So whoever the loser comes out to be, that's it. And that's all I'm saying. All right. I think that's fair. Real quick. I know it's boxing. I believe that the winner of this fight, Tyson Fury, if it's him, if he wins this fight, I would like for him to secure his mandatory obligation to fight the winner of White or, Wallin, whoever wins that fight. Secure that mandatory fight, whoever the winner is. I don't care who it is, to secure it. Just do whatever you got to do. All right? So we can move on for this whole WBC mandatory crap with Dillian White. Really, specifically him. Get that fight in. AJ is going to fight Usyk in a rematch. There's nothing we can do about that. They're going to fight each other again. Whether you want it or not, they're going to fight each other again. Just like this situation. Whether you wanted it or not, Wilder and Fury was going to happen. I didn't believe none of that AJ mess. That's why I didn't make no content on it. All right? Didn't believe it. I believe that the winner of Usyk and Joshua 2 will fight whoever's holding the title, the WBC title at that time, including Wilder. I know that Wilder and Joshua couldn't get things sorted out. They didn't have their fight. If Wilder is to beat Fury and become champion, and if he is to defend his title against his mandatory opponent, I believe that the winner of Usyk and Joshua 2 will fight Deontay Wilder. I believe so because at this point, Wilder has already lost. Joshua has already lost twice. At this point, there's nothing to protect at this point. You can't protect the O anymore. If Wilder is to lose to Fury and Joshua is to lose to Usyk, those two should be fighting each other. I don't want to see neither one of those guys retire before they fight each other. And for the same reasons. You both got losses. There's nothing to protect. If you're Team Wilder, and you think that AJ ducked Wilder, or if you're AJ team and you think Wilder ducked AJ, at the end of the day, when all this went down, they were undefeated. All this stuff, the zone deals, 50 million email offer, the original offer where they weren't giving Wilder a percentage, all of that stuff, these two have lost since then. And you're later in the, especially Deontay Wilder. He's older. How old is Deontay Wilder at this point? Deontay Wilder is, damn, they never got his age on here. Deontay Wilder is, I think he's 35. He's either 35 or 36. He's 35. In fact, he's turning 36 in a couple weeks. He's going to be 36 this month. I'm thinking this, like, okay, if AJ beats Usyk, obviously he's not going to fight Wilder next. He's not going to do it. He's going to try to get the undisputed thing first, right? Which is fair. Yo, if you holding the title, the priority should be undisputed. But if AJ loses to Usyk again and Wilder loses to Fury again this week, why not fight? You know why? You're still going to make a lot of money. You're probably still going to make more money fighting AJ in this one fight than you probably did in the Fury fights. You know what I'm saying? Just do it at this point, And I think it will happen. I think it will happen. Because even if these fighters still lose, it'll still create a great financial opportunity, but it also creates another opportunity to get a shot at whoever it becomes undisputed in the future. That's if they don't retire. I personally feel like, listen, if Tyson Fury becomes undisputed, I think he would fight AJ maybe to secure the bag if AJ is still doing well. If AJ goes and loses to Wilder or something, I think Fury, if he becomes undisputed, he'll probably just retire, But I think that regardless, I think that the fights will finally happen at some point. I believe so. I know boxing usually screw us, but I think there's a chance that we will get AJ and Wilder at some point. I think so. Just because they already both lost. And I think it's not much to protect. And I think Wilder, yes, he could just retire. But I think at 36 years old, going on, and then, by the time if they did fight, he'll be like 37 at that point. I think that's a good way to go out. Securing a big bag like that, it'll be a good way to go out. I think it'll be lucrative for both fighters. That's just my opinion, I don't know. All right. I'm not forgetting about the upcoming guys. And I'm not forgetting about the undercard. I told you guys in the beginning of this video, I'm going to do a separate live just doing the undercard. I was supposed to do that the other day, but then I had guests on the channels and we ended up talking about Joshua and Usyk and everybody else. We didn't get to the actual undercard. I want to do a separate video just addressing the undercard because this is probably the best undercard that we've had in a very long time, at least I can remember. All right. So I want to talk about these guys. You got Efe Ajagba fighting Frank Sanchez, which is a very good fight. You got Kanowski fighting he's fighting Robert Helenius in a rematch and a fight in an upset, one of the biggest recent upsets. Because I definitely had Adam Kanowski knocking him out and stopping him at some point, especially with the run that he was having, beating Areola, beating Charles Martin, stopping Gerald Washington early, starting Spilka. He was going on a tear, and to get knocked out by Robin Helenius, was kind of really, it was surprising and shocking to me. All right. And then you got Jared Anderson. He's going to be on the undercard. He's fighting someone that I'm not really familiar with. I know he's a Russian fighter. I can't think of his name off top, but I did get a chance to look him up and I couldn't find much. There wasn't much history with him. He's been inactive. He hasn't fought in 2 years, but he's undefeated. Okay. I don't know what I know he's been a pro since 2007. He has a decent record. I mean, obviously he has like over 20 fights, no losses, but no notable names on his resume. Okay, I'm looking for it right now as I'm speaking to you. What's his name? Oh, Vladimir Tareshkin. Okay, I looked up this guy. I don't know how good of an amateur he was. I don't know, because if he's like 33 years old. If he's been pro since 2007, I'm sure he doesn't have much of a decorated background because he went pro at like 19. So I don't know how good that guy is, but Jared Anderson. Oh, I do know he's a southpaw though. I did check that. I did like look him up on YouTube. But I'm expecting Jared Anderson. From what I've seen, I think Jared Anderson is going to stop him. And I think Jared Anderson is potentially the next great heavyweight, a great prospect, only 21 years old, and he's that good already. So I'm expecting a knockout from him. And I'm expecting him to just keep doing good. I think they're putting him against. I think eventually he's going to fight guys like a FA Jogba. I think he's going to eventually fight guys like Frank Sanchez's and stuff. But I think he's going to be the future, and later down the line, maybe we could get a Daniel Dubois fight with him, or a Tony Yoka fight or some of the younger fighters. All right. But anyway, I'm ending at that. Next video is going to be on the undercard. We got more videos. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to have guests this week. We're going to do a lot leading up. I do want to do an actual official breakdown, but you're going to hear a lot of what I said today. All right. But yo, I'm out of here. I'll see you guys either tonight or tomorrow morning. I'll be back with some more stuff to talk about. And make sure you subscribe. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Hit that thumbs up. And hit me on the Twitter, the Instagram at Boxingwave 10. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.